Hello and welcome. This is Health and Wellbeing, your number one stop for healthy living tips. I am Lois Abasambo. Today, we talk about breastfeeding. From the earliest moments of a child's life, breastfeeding is the ultimate child survival and development intervention. It protects babies from common infectious diseases and boosts children's immune systems, providing the key nutrients children need to grow and develop to their full potential. However, in order for children to get the best, mothers have to sacrifice a lot, as it requires significant mental and emotional commitment as well as investment in time. For working mothers, they would have to sacrifice time and make extra efforts to take care of their babies. Today on the program, we shall be discussing how to make breastfeeding and work together. Well, here in the studio, we were being joined by maternal, infant and young child nutrition advisor at USAID Advancing Nutrition, Ms. Pauline Ada, and the head of infant and young child feeding branch at the Federal Ministry of Health, Dr. Temidayo Odebumi. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And it's nice having you. It's an all ladies affair today on the program. Yeah, so let's start first off with breastfeeding. One, why is breastfeeding important? So I'll just take it from Pauline. Why is breastfeeding important and why is it significant to the growth of the child?
Okay, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure being here today. So breastfeeding is absolutely important for the growth and development of every child. And breast milk, that is the meal and the food we're talking about now.
Yes.
That food in itself is called, we like to refer to it as God's gift to a child, nature's gift. Breast milk contains all the nutrients and antibodies and vitamins that a child requires throughout its growing stage, especially from birth to 6 months and continuously to 2 years of age and even beyond. So breast milk is very vital. Research has shown that no milk or other type of food in this world matches the breast milk for a child.
I heard you say something, and this is me jumping. I heard you say beyond 2 years, because over time I've heard people say, okay, they stop breastfeeding at 6 months. Oh, no, not 6 months, 2 years, I mean. And I hear you say beyond. Is there like a duration beyond 2 years? And is there a side effect, or is it normal for a child to go beyond 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? And at what age should a child stop taking breast milk?
Okay, so actually, the recommendation is at least 2 years. The WHO and UNICEF try to encourage that because it's very important and vital for a child's growth. And where parents are able to continue beyond 2 years, it's absolutely very important still and really good for it. But we know that in our busy world today, beyond 2 years, the child might have grown quite bigger, and mother will be much busier, and at least the mother can begin to take a break from breastfeeding at 2 years old. But it is absolutely important and recommended. Not up to 5 years. No, but at least beyond 2 years. So we have mothers sometimes in the rural communities who are able to continue that for up to 3 years. And even when the child begins to speak, the child can say, "Mommy, can I have some?" So it's really very important. It's really a rich meal. And I don't know if...
So Dr. David, we're still talking about duration, but I just want to talk about a little. How often should a child be breastfed? Not for how long, but let's talk about from newborns to 6 months, which is the duration where exclusive breastfeeding is done. How often should a child be breastfed?
Thank you very much. So I'll just start with, the recommendations.
Yes.
Pauline already spoke about the recommendations, but maybe I'll just break it down. The Federal Ministry of Health recommends, number 1, early initiation of breastfeeding within the first hour of birth, meaning when the child is born, within 1 hour, the child should be put to breast. Then secondly, exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life, meaning only breast milk no water, no additional liquids, only drugs if recommended by a health practitioner. And number 3, continued breastfeeding for up to 2 years or beyond, as you rightly said. So for the duration of exclusive breastfeeding, for the first 6 months, you are giving the child only breast milk. As you rightly said, breast milk contains all the nutrients. For adults, we say there's no one class of food that can give you all the nutrients, but breast milk is a special type of food for the baby. It has everything the child needs. And for a mother to practice exclusive breastfeeding, what we say is you breastfeed on demand. For that duration you're looking for is in that word, on demand, meaning you breastfeed when the child needs it. We don't wait. For newborns, you don't wait until they cry. For newborns at the hospital, we said early initiation within the first 1 hour, meaning the health worker helps the mother to put the baby to breast. Irrespective of the mode of delivery, it could be normal delivery, it could be cesarean section, it could be a painful delivery and she's not able to do that. So the health worker puts the baby to breast. And we say on demand, meaning baby, you don't wait for baby to cry. There are some things we call feeding cues. Sometimes the baby brings the hands to the mouth, you see them doing this. Or you see the face change, or you just notice the expression, you quickly take the child and feed. You don't wait until they are crying so much. So it's on demand till 6 months. Even beyond 6 months, we still continue to breastfeed on demand.
Okay. There's something you spoke about, whether it's through natural birth, whether it's through CS, even if it's painful. And I see that as challenges. So what are some common challenges that mothers may face, while breastfeeding, or even starting from initiating breastfeeding?
Okay, there are several challenges. The first is, as you said, before I even say the challenges, women need support, irrespective of how strong the woman is, how easy the labor went. Breastfeeding may seem to be a woman's job, but without support, the woman will not be able to practice optimal breastfeeding the way it's recommended. So right from delivery, she needs support. Even from pregnancy, the decision to breastfeed starts from when a woman gets pregnant. And the support starts from pregnancy. When she visits the health facility, the first support is you tell her about breastfeeding, the benefits of breastfeeding. And if at that period of pregnancy, the woman has a negative notion about breastfeeding, she's not likely to breastfeed. So it starts from there. So she needs to be emotionally prepared and ready. That's a challenge. There are some myths about breastfeeding. Some people say, I don't know if you've heard some, I can give an example. In some communities, they say the first milk that is yellowish is bad milk.
Because it looks, yes, I've seen it, because, they say it looks dirty, it doesn't look so clean.
Clear.
So for that woman, that could be a challenge. If she has that negative mindset and she doesn't have anyone to support her with the right information. So she's going into labor thinking, my baby does not need that. That's the challenge. So we need to take care of that. Then at birth, when she has just given birth, maybe it's depending on the mode of delivery. She's C-section, she may be in pain and she needs support. That could be a challenge. She's tired. Some women, after delivery, she doesn't even want to say, I want to sleep, take the baby away. So if she doesn't have that support, that could be a challenge. But it can be easily surmounted by a supportive health worker. Another challenge could be positioning and attachment. There's something we call positioning. For a baby to be well breastfed, there's a right position to put the baby. And there's another one we call attachment. Attachment is how does the baby's mouth attach to the nipple. So if positioning is right, attachment is right, baby and mother have a good time. But if she doesn't get positioning right, attachment right, she will have pain. The mother will experience pain, baby will experience discomfort. I don't know if you've heard from women saying, oh, breastfeeding is painful.
Yes.
Cracked nipples, sores. Those are one of the challenges, especially for a new mother, a first timer. She will have those challenges. But with adequate support, care from the health worker, support at home, she will be able to. There are many more challenges, but let me stop there.
Yeah, so I can add one to especially the barrier of not practicing or conducting early initiation. It is a big barrier to breastfeeding. So where a child is not put to breast within that first hour of birth, in fact, we try to emphasize 30 minutes to 1 hour of birth, the child easily retards from the libido, which, naturally he or she was born with, to suckle. And once that child is being fed with formula milk, where he or she is given with the help of what they call it, the bottle, the feeding
bottles. Yeah.
Yes, so the child could get used to the teeth of that feeding bottle and have what we call a nipple confusion. So you find out that this child, after a few days, would not like to suckle on the mother's breast, but when you give the child with the feeding bottle, he suckles. So there's been a confusion there, and both mother and child would face some difficulties there. The mother naturally wants to give to her child that nature's gift, and the child right now have been programmed, to be more used to the feeding bottle. So early initiation or not practicing early initiation can also be a barrier.
Okay, so let's talk about the milk. That's that first milk, that you mentioned. What's it called? And give us more information on that.
It's called the colostrum, and it is the first milk that comes from a mother's breast after birth. And we refer to it too as the first immunization for a child because it contains high antibodies that can help the child build its resistance against infections. So children who get to take that first milk, the colostrum, usually are able to resist infections that could harm children at their early stages. And between birth and 5 months, the rate of death via infection is very high because their bodies have not yet built antibodies to fight infections. And so the rate of death among those set of children is not normally high. So the colostrum is that immunization that keeps them healthy. Very important for every child.
Okay, so let's talk about, you spoke about early initiation, and I've heard quite a number of mothers complain that when they give birth, like at that point, they have not produced breast milk, and it seems like for more than an hour, they've not been able to produce breast milk. How do we handle that kind of situation, Dr. Odebumi?
Okay, thank you for that question. Very interesting. And it's really common. Yes, you hear many women say, oh, I gave birth and
no
for
milk.
4 days, no milk. That's why we started from the beginning. When she spoke, she said it, I also said it. The mother needs to be prepared to breastfeed. And she needs support right from the beginning, from pregnancy. If she's mentally ready to breastfeed, psychologically she's ready, she knows the importance of breastfeeding, she's psychologically ready, and the health worker needs to support her. If you miss early initiation, there will be difficulties along the way. Breastfeeding is a natural process, but we know about hormones. The breastfeeding process is also controlled by hormones. There's one hormone, there are 2 major hormones. There's one that ensures that the woman has milk. During pregnancy, you notice the woman's body changes, the breast gets bigger. The milk is getting ready, the breasts are getting ready to feed the baby. And at the point of birth, the breasts are ready to feed. Milk is formed. But there's another hormone that is needed to let the milk flow out. We call it oxytocin. That's the hormone that is responsible for the letdown. We call it letdown reflex. And that hormone gets to work when you put baby to breast. Do you know, it's interesting to know that breastfeeding is very natural. When a baby is born, if you put the baby right on the chest of the mother, without doing anything, just put the baby right on the chest of the mother and watch. The baby will crawl to the breast, will naturally gravitate, the mouth will naturally gravitate to the nipple and latch on the nipple.
Eyes closed.
Yeah, eyes closed because they're still born without their eyes open.
Naturally to the nipple. And immediately that baby starts suckling, it sends signals to the brain that baby needs milk. So the milk flows out. But initially, at that stage, the stomach size is still very small. Let me use an analogy. The size of a walnut. You know the size of a walnut? That's the size of a newborn stomach. So they need very little milk. So you do that, it sends a signal to the brain, milk starts flowing, but at the initial stage, just in drops. So even if you attempt to express it, to come out in drops. So a person that doesn't have that knowledge, that think baby needs a cup, will think, oh, I don't have milk. That's why she needs that support. She needs that reassurance. Very little milk. Then you continue to put baby to breast, milk starts flowing. But if you miss that process, like she doesn't have support, baby is separated from mother.
Yes.
she doesn't put baby to breast, first day, second day, the breast will become engorged. First day, second day, by the third day, the breasts are so full, she will now have a problem. The fullness will also affect the shape of the nipple. So baby will struggle more. And there are some other challenges some other women have problems with their nipple. That's why during pregnancy, if she gets to the health facility, a supportive health worker will check her, also check the breast. At delivery, also check the breast to be sure the shape of the nipple is okay. Nipple challenges can be attended to. Some women have flat nipples, inverted nipples, but the health worker knows exactly what to do, how to support this woman to ensure that she breastfeeds her baby. So there are some challenges occasionally. There are some, very rarely, there are some women that have some health challenges, maybe on some drugs. She wants to breastfeed, but because she's on some medications, or there are some situations where she can't breastfeed, but she's also supported even during that period to ensure that milk keeps flowing. So it's very important for women register for antenatal, give birth at the health facility, and it's important for women to have the knowledge. If she has the knowledge, even if she goes to the health facility and the health worker is not supportive, she can tell the health worker, please give me my baby, I want to breastfeed. If she gives birth and the health worker is taking the baby to another room, because one of our recommendations is mothers should be with the babies. We even call it bedding in now. The baby should be with the mother, not separated. Because that also helps our hormones and helps the milk flow. So she can say, please give me my baby, I want to breastfeed.
Okay, so let's talk about lengthy dietary recommendations, because I know I've heard quite a number of women say, I eat this or I take this, and when I take this, I'm able to produce more breast milk. Tell us more about that.
Okay, so for dietary, we say that what a woman eats does not necessarily affect the production of breast milk.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Breast milk is so natural. So, but we don't leave out the mother because her health is very important. So we ensure the dietary diversity we talk about is for her health. I mean, naturally, without food, we would have no strength. You know, we need energy for even our daily work. And also, like you rightly said at the beginning, breastfeeding is a job. You need time, it takes a lot of time and energy from the mother. So she needs to feed very well. And I like to use the example of detoxing, or even, detoxing through urine or whatever. You need to take a lot of water to be able to let out a lot of water. And so when the woman feeds on very good nutritious food and is always hydrated, yes, her body is the production factory now. The production factory is well fueled to produce a healthy or healthier milk. But it does not necessarily affect it. Yeah, but it's for her own strength and for her well-being. And, it just helps the production in general. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like us to take a short break and just hear women's views on, especially working mothers, on how they're able to put work together, put breastfeeding together, and how they're able to make it work. Take a look, and then our conversation will continue after this short break. Stay with us.
Well, it was not an easy experience, but determination actually made me to put working while having them. And what I did, especially the last one, I had to go with somebody to my primary area of assignment who helps me hold the baby while I'm working, and when she's in need of milk, I'll just go breastfeed her until I completed my 6 months exclusive breastfeeding. Then I try as much as possible to balance my work with resting, because breastfeeding needs a lot of resting and good nutritional feeding. You need to eat well for you to be able to balance it up. So those are the key things that actually helped me out.
If I'm working, I need to get somebody that can help me do the work so that I can get time to breastfeed my baby very well. Because if I cannot share my time into two, if I'm doing business, for example, if I'm doing business, I can find somebody that can help me so that I can breastfeed my baby very well. When I finish the breastfeeding, I can go back to my business. That is it.
Every mother or breastfeeding mother has a routine. So my routine was first to know how to package breast milk. I first extracted some breast milk, and I usually refrigerate. And then when my baby start crying, I get to feed my help get to feed the baby when I'm not around. But according to work ethics, you can't be going off and on. But when it was becoming too cumbersome for me at work and running back home, I had to get a place where that is close to my office. That's where my help would stay with my baby, and then from there she would breastfeed. And when it's finished, I would quickly run there, maybe during lunch, like I said, routine. So I had to map out a way to go there during lunch, feed my baby, and then run back to the office and then extract a fresh milk that won't be stay from morning to evening, just within that time. So that's how I was able to manage breastfeeding. And luckily, my baby enjoyed breastfeeding. It took us time, and then we were able to bond until breast milk was taken away.
Yeah, we have a 4 months maternal leave. It is not okay. I'm aware some states already increased to 6 months. So if all states can actually adopt to that, it will help breastfeeding mothers. So that at least for these 6 months you're doing exclusive, you're at home resting enough, taking what you're supposed to take so that the baby can get the required nutrients. Again, then offices need crèche. I think it should be a thing of sanction when you go to a government agency, not just government, even a private company, and there's no crèche for nursing mothers. It is something that you should query organizations for. So they should make it a law that every organization should have crèche. And if all states, like I said, can adopt the 6 months maternity leave to help mothers to do the exclusive, then so that when they know they are now resuming to what's it called, alternative feeding, and with supporting with the breast milk. I think it will go a long way in helping a lot of mothers.
Mothers that are breastfeeding, they said women can think 10 things at the same time. That is one thing that, would always take over every other thing, work and the rest, because you have a life you're responsible for. So you have to definitely take care of that child. Now, if they give them more than the 3 months, because a baby that is just born for 3 months, I don't think the baby is strong enough. Even if the baby can go out, if they can extend their leave time, and then make places in office space, that they can keep their children, maybe with less payment, because even paying for a child care and the rest of them, you have a help, you have the home to run, you have responsibilities here and there. Even with the husband, it's still not easy. So if they can make it easy for them, getting a place where the babies can stay, they have somebody they pay maybe in bits, or they subsidize for the workers, it will help.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. Those are the views of mothers on how they're able to put work together and breastfeeding together. And I still have here with me Pauline and Dr. Odebumi, and we've been discussing breastfeeding. So let's talk about support for women breastfeeding at work and how they can be able to put it together, because I know it's not easy. It takes a lot of work, physical energy. It takes a lot of emotional energy. For people that do work that it's very exhausting, they work all through the day. Like for me, I work all through the day. How can mothers, balance work life and balance breastfeeding as well? Because I know there has been advocacy for 6 months maternal leave, but it's beginning to look like, okay, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? But most maternity leaves are just 3 months. And if you're doing exclusive breastfeeding, that's not enough time for you to be able to wean your child, to say you would leave your child and your child will not be able to stay with you. So Dr. Odebumi, how can mothers, balance the work life and balance, breastfeeding their children as well?
Thank you for that question. For working mothers, it's really a big challenge, but it's possible to work and to breastfeed.
Yeah.
One of the things we are doing this week is, as we said, the theme of this week is enabling breastfeeding, making a difference for working mothers. So we want to emphasize the fact that women need support. And to start with, I'll start from the point of the workplace now. The workplace could be this now, public sector, private sector, formal and informal. For the informal sector, many mothers, if you have your business and market women and all that, you could take your baby to work with you. For example, if I have a shop, all I need is a create a corner where I can keep baby, have even if I don't have someone with me. We've seen our local women back their babies and sell their products. You can have your baby there, then feed. Then we also advocate to other places like markets. There can be crèches in markets. Big malls. Big malls, the number of, if you have like, some big malls have up to 50 employees. You can have a crèche. And for all employers of labor, private, public, one of the ways we can support women is have a crèche at the workplace so that the woman can easily bring her baby there and the baby is close by. She can easily take like short breaks to breastfeed baby. And if that is not possible, another thing we do is we call it lactation room or nursing room. Some people call it mother's room. All you need is just a small room. Designate it as breastfeeding room for your working mothers. All you need there is, we have a criteria to be able to set up that place, but just space is what you need. That's the number one thing. So she can come to work with a nanny or a caregiver that stays with baby and she takes breaks off. And if that is not possible, a working mother can also express milk. Express milk to give the baby. And this, we teach them how to express milk.
So, sorry, can you just break down what express milk is? Express milk means,
So what we mean by express is, she's breastfeeding directly when she's with baby. When she's not with baby, she could use a breast pump or express manually. She can't even express manually without pump, because if I say pump now, some will say I can't afford it.
Okay, so that means to like squeeze out the breast milk.
Squeeze out the breast milk. So she's taught, it's like we teach them how to express the milk. She can do it manually. Okay. She can express manually. We teach them. By the time I teach a woman, she knows what to do, how to express the milk. And interestingly, breast milk can stay at room temperature for about 6 hours. So if she breastfeeds, she expresses milk in the morning, it can stay at room temperature. It can be refrigerated. It can even stay in the freezer, frozen at constant temperature for about 3 months. So if she has a caregiver at home, for example, let me give you a practical example. Now, my younger sister, her baby is 1 year old, but she had to combine work and breastfeeding. So I had prepared her mind. During pregnancy, she was ready to do it, prepared to do it. And when she had the baby, I taught her how to express. And she did it. She did exclusive breastfeeding. She's still breastfeeding. Baby is 1 year. She's still breastfeeding. So you can express milk. Nice containers, just have containers too. So when she's going to work, she goes with her bag and with storage containers. But she needs a private place at work. So that's another form of support. Just if you don't have enough, if you don't have all the crèche and all those, you just create space for her where she can have privacy to express milk. Because she's separated from baby, she needs to keep the milk flowing. Breastfeeding works on demand and supply. The more the demand, the higher the supply. So the more you put baby to breast, the more milk will flow. So when mothers tell you that, oh, my milk is not flowing well, you need to find out, is she breastfeeding frequently? Another thing is she relaxed. You know, I said there are hormones. So stress will affect breast milk flow. Anxiety will affect it. That's why we want mothers to get support. So if she's able to do that, she goes to work with her containers, with her bag. Nobody needs to know. She has a private place. She expresses her milk. So, you know, she's keeping milk. She has a store of milk. When she gets back home, she breastfeeds baby directly. Overnight, she breastfeeds baby directly. So the caregiver, you teach the caregiver how to feed baby. And I need to mention that we don't recommend bottle. One of the reasons is what she said earlier, nipple confusion, especially in the first few days of life. When you give the feeding bottle, she already explained it. It's easier for the baby to take breast milk from the breast directly. The baby needs to suckle, some effort. But for the feeding bottle, there's no effort. So baby gets used to that. When you now bring the breast, baby rejects it. You see baby try to suckle, remove the mouth and cry. You attempt it again, baby will cry. So a mother that is inexperienced will be wondering what's wrong. So that's one of the challenges. But we do cup feeding. So the health worker will teach the mother how to feed with a tiny cup. And the father can do it. So the mother rests at night. The father will feed with the express milk. That's another form of support. If the older woman is there, maybe the grandmother, mother-in-law, they can also help to feed the baby. That way the woman is psychologically relaxed. She enjoys the process and she's feeding well.
So just to add to this,
Yes.
the challenges at workplace and how to cope with them. Yeah, just like she rightly mentioned, the psychological part is one of the most important. I use this example mostly during my trainings. I say, sometimes you go a whole day not using the toilet.
Yeah.
What happens? And you're not pressed, you're not shouting, you're not screaming because you psychologically have told yourself, I don't have a toilet around me.
Yeah.
Say, for instance, you're in the bush or you're somewhere, you don't have a toilet around you. But the moment you're heading home and you get to your door, it looks as if you just realize that, it's in the mind. So that signal has been sent to your mind that, there's a toilet right around
close
me.
by.
Yes, and I need to get this out.
Yes.
And then it begins, so basically that is it. The mother needs to be prepared mentally and be ready. And when she's stressed due to several other reasons, it hinders and hampers effective breastfeeding.
Okay.
Same as the workplace. So when we come to the workplace, she had mentioned what could be done at the workplace, the spaces and everything. The second part I would like to add is on the employees. So her fellow employees also would need to support her. So we have situations whereby a mother is back from the 6 months. Take, for instance, we have 6 months. We do have that in 7 states, by the way, and it's working.
Oh.
Yes. So but when she returns from these 6 months, she still needs support. So her fellow employees need to be educated on the tedious work that it takes to breastfeed effectively, and also be able to support her and not see it like you're getting additional burden because she's claiming to be breastfeeding.
Yes.
But when they understand what it takes to breastfeed a child, they can easily support her because she will be placed on reduced hours of work,
Yes.
and be able granted to leave the office earlier than others. So co-workers and employees at the workplace can also support to make this effective.
Okay. But I'd like to ask, are there times when, yes, the mother initiated early and then she has been breastfeeding, and let me even use the first 6 months, exclusive 6 months, and then all of a sudden the child just stops? Are there issues like that? And then how do we tackle those kind of issues?
Okay. What you said, I've heard scenarios like that. It's actually real. There are some mothers, okay, I'll give an example after this. There are some mothers that she's breastfeeding is going on well, and suddenly she comes to the facility that my milk is not flowing. So I saw a mother like that. She called me up for my milk is not flowing. The first thing I asked, what drugs are you taking? So for breastfeeding mothers, one of the important things is self-medication, avoid it. Everything you take affects your body and affects the milk. So for that particular woman, I'll tell you what she did. What she did was she went to a pharmacy to buy contraceptives. So she bought the one she shouldn't have used that would dry up the milk. That same way, there are also some drugs like maybe good for you, a non-pregnant woman, but when you take it as a nursing mother, it gets into the milk. So that's why we advocate. You are pregnant, go to the facility, register for antenatal, deliver at the facility, and when you're breastfeeding, don't take drugs. Let it be prescribed. So that's one of the things. Then another important thing she mentioned is stress. Stress. When a woman is overburdened, it could even be as simple as, it may not be simple, marital challenges, stress in the house. This same woman, she's the one taking care of the baby. She's doing the laundry. She's cooking, cleaning the house. No support from the home at all. So she's mentally stressed, physically stressed. That will affect milk flow. But for every challenge a woman has, the first thing I will say is please go to the facility, talk to your health worker. You can go with the baby. Sometimes it may even be position. It may be as simple as attachment. She's not getting it right. She was discharged, maybe the health worker, the nurse was helping her in the facility. But when she got back home, within 1 or 2 days, she's not doing it right. It may be as simple as even how she's sitting down. Exactly. Maybe there's no comfortable chair, but she doesn't know. She's just sitting and you hear some women after some weeks, she has this pain on the wrist, lower back pain. And it's so simple, just help her, support her, teach her what to do. So for every challenge, there are a few difficult situations, but they can all be surmounted. All she needs is visit the facility. And one of the things we're also doing is ensure that health workers are well trained to adequately support women.
And this thing you just said is a call for more male participation, in the entire pregnancy process, and doesn't just end at the pregnancy process, even, after. Because just like you said, I got so mad last week. I think I came across a video online, and the wife was asking the husband to help her just take the baby and put the baby, and the husband was angry. You don't do anything, you're just at home. And she's like, well, that's a whole lot of work. But sometimes men don't understand that is even more than sitting at the office and working on the screen, So this is actually a call for, more male participation for men to be able to, participate and understand, attend antenatal with her. At that time, they explain to you the processes she's going through. Because some men say that when their wives can become pregnant, it's like something has taken over.
And this thing you just said now also reminds me of the points for both maternity and paternity leave. Yes, so we have been advocating for that. And like I mentioned earlier, we have 7 states now in Nigeria that has enforced that, put that in their policy, and they're enforcing it. We are still also pushing for paternity leave, So even by me approving that leave, they'll get a sense of why they're getting that leave and get to be more involved. And it also starts from the point of going to the facilities for visits and all. We encourage that the husband also makes out time to go with her from time to time and get involved. A lot of work is going on in the community sector, where sometimes we have the father-to-father support group for infant and young child feeding, but in the urban areas, we know people are busy, but it would be nice, maybe through this medium, social media and all, we can push out more of these messages.
So just tell us more about this father-to-father support group,
Okay, so back in the rural communities where most interventions by implementing partners focus on. We had over the years had mother-to-mother support groups on infant and young child feeding. It's a group where about 12 to 15 women gather every week or once in a month, depending on the duration they agree upon within their community settings. And within their neighborhoods. And they sit and discuss these whole processes of how best to feed and take care of an infant and the child to their growing stages, starting from when the woman is pregnant, how to take care of herself and her body, antenatal and everything, and then coming to the processes of childbearing, early initiation of breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding, complementary feeding, the types of food to eat, and also hygiene, encouraging them on hygiene, because it has very ample effect on the nutrition, our nutrition in general. We also teach them also how to improve their livelihoods by having small kitchen gardens around the house where they can produce, nutritious foods like easy vegetables, green leafy vegetables they can do, and animal rearing, some things that would help you not to spend too much to get good nutritious foods using your locally available foods within the community. So in these communities where we're working, we realized that the women were getting, more knowledge on how to take care of their children and the kinds of food they can mix within the community. And in the northern part especially, where we know that the man has the higher say to even what is being fed. And in some communities, it is even the men who go to the market. So it was now conflicting. Yes, the mother now has the idea and the knowledge. Going back home, there's conflict.
She can't implement.
Yes, there's conflict because the husband does not agree, and does not give that support that we tell them that their husbands should. And eventually, we had a barrier study about that, and we decided, okay, it's time to involve the men. So we had men support group meetings. They don't meet as often, they are busy, farm and business and other things. At least once in a month or once in 2 months. And they're able to dish out necessary information to them. And we got really good testimonies where some of them say, yes, my next wife's pregnancy, I must ensure she does exclusive breastfeeding. Yes. In fact, I take care of the children. I bathe the children to take them to school so that she can rest. I make sure I buy fruits and vegetables on my way back home every day, So male involvement is very essential.
It's very, very, very essential. Now, let's talk about, earlier Pauline was talking about, women returning back in the office and kind of supports that colleagues could actually also help in giving. But Dr. Odebumi, I would like you to give us more insight on, for a mother that has been off work for, let's say, 3 months, her maternity leave, how does she prepare to come back to work, herself, psychologically, emotionally, physically? How does she prepare after going through, I don't want to call it a traumatic phase, because I've not been there anyways, but when you hear stories, it sounds so traumatizing. But having gone through this phase, how do you prepare to come back, almost come back to life as normal, but you're also coming back with, an extra life with you? How can women prepare for that?
Okay, thank you. Okay, the first preparation, as you said, is psychological. For example, I give you an example of my sister.
Yes.
Okay, as you said, support. This support from different areas now. I talked about support from the employer, support from colleagues.
Yes.
During that maternity leave period, 3 months is short. Even for 6 months, if she has the full 6 months fully paid maternity leave, remember, she continues breastfeeding.
Yes.
Breastfeeding is not ending. So she needs to be prepared. One of the ways, and COVID has brought us a lot of innovation.
Yes.
So one of the things we even advocate to employers of labor is you can allow them work from home.
Yeah.
You can allow them work from home. That's an option. COVID taught us we can work from home.
Yes.
So many people have remote jobs now.
Up to now, yes.
So one of the options is if you cannot give 6 months fully paid maternity leave, she can work from home. If you give 3 months, she can then work from home. So she keeps herself abreast of her job. She doesn't go totally off
from
her
work.
job.
Yes.
Even when she's on maternity leave, there's communication. And if colleagues know that breastfeeding is work, and they know the importance of breastfeeding, they're able to support her. There's communication. Some of them will be able to relieve her of some job. So when she's getting ready to come back to work, she's mentally ready. She has learned about breastfeeding. Another thing we tell mothers is get information. Get to know what breastfeeding entails. Sometimes something as little as how to express milk, the storage containers I need, a good bag. For my sister, she used a school bag. Just this backpack.
Yes.
Because you need that to and fro work. If baby is away from you, even when baby is with you, you
still need to pack up things.
Yeah.
Then even dressing.
Yeah.
They prepare for that. So you need to consciously prepare you need to dress
Appropriately.
For mothers,
now that you said it, I know they have clothes that have zips in front.
Exactly. Yeah.
Clothes that have zip in front, and there are many breastfeeding outfits, and there's something we even call a nursing cover. So she can breastfeed. If you are breastfeeding exclusively, remember it's breastfeeding on demand, meaning you will breastfeed anywhere and
anytime.
everywhere. And we also want our public places to also be baby friendly. And like I said earlier, malls can have stretches, and supermarkets can have breastfeeding corners. I've seen that only in one place in Abuja here.
Yeah.
So a big supermarket, just a little corner designated as nursing corner, breastfeeding corner with a barrier. She could just sit there. Sometimes you're shopping and baby starts screaming and you need to breastfeed. She'll be looking around. Some public places, there's no place to even sit.
Even sit safe.
Even sit. So that's something so for her, she gets ready. She needs the bag. She needs to dress for breast. With that cover, she could sit in a public place. She's nothing and no intrusion. She's the only one seeing her baby.
Yeah.
So that way, she needs to get ready that way. And there are many options for employers of labor. And you know that breastfeeding even benefits employers of labor. So you're not losing out. Breastfeeding does not affect productivity, rather it increases productivity. If I have a company now and I have female employees, if I support you to breastfeed, you are likely to be more committed. Yeah. If I have a nursing room at the workplace, you are likely to be more committed to the company. And remember that breastfeeding reduces your chances of taking your child to the hospital. That child is healthier, so you will get less, you will not get sick, you will not take sick leave as often as the other person. Apart from that, for the company too, maybe you have health insurance. The mother is even healthier. She's more psychologically stable. She she's not likely to have postpartum depression, other issues. So you're even saving costs for the company. So there's increased productivity for the workplace. There's reduced cost for the workplace. So when we support breastfeeding, we are the ones that get the benefits, not just the mother. We also get the benefits.
Thank you very much.
Way for the COVID mechanism is perfect, and I wish all private, especially private organizations, can actually see to that. Going back to work, I know the 10 to 2 duration for time, for work time for breastfeeding mothers. That's also a gradual way of getting the mother to get back to work. So she comes not as early as others, by 10, and by 2 p.m. she can leave. But within those hours, she has a comfortable place to stay. There's something with the feeling of gratitude, like she mentioned. When someone, gives you the space you really need to relieve you of some stress, you're so grateful, and you can really find yourself committing even much more. I once had a colleague who said that was one of the reasons why she actually turned down a better offer to remain with a particular organization. Because when she was breastfeeding, her boss, even after 6 months, her boss would tell her, got her a higher table in her office, and made a space, moved her from the general office to a single office, and got her a big table where she could actually lay the baby's small mattress beside her and walk. And she was so grateful. She said it made her cry. And when she got a better offer, she turned it down.
Yeah, especially if they don't have those kind of policies.
Yes, I want to give my all for this because this child, she tagged the child after the organization, that kind of a thing. Yeah, so it's really made her highly committed, even staying beyond the hours necessary. You have to say, no, you have to go home. She's like, no, let me just finish up.
Since her baby is here,
Yeah, my baby's here. She's so glad she got the support she did.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Debumi and Pauline, for taking our time to be here with us on the program. And it was really, really insightful. Thank you very much for being on the program today. And we still hope that we can still always call you back because there is more to speak on. Thank you very much. But that's how much we can take on the program. But before we conclude, remember that supporting breastfeeding parents is a collective responsibility. Let's work together to create a nurturing and empowering environment for them. Keep it a date with us same time next week, Thursday, which is by 5 p.m. I am Lois Aposambo. Do stay safe.